Hey gang, welcome back to my shop. This is Marc LeBlanc. Today I'm going to show you something that's actually a lot of fun to do. It's turning one of these, turning a pen on your lathe. Now, this is one of the easiest projects there is in terms of wood turning. It is child's play. It's also something that makes a great gift. You could probably sell some of these as well. And what's best is I've got a bunch of scrap wood around the shop that I just don't know what to do with, and finally I've got a use for it. There is one big drawback with turning pens. Although this is a really easy project to do, it does require a lot of pretty specific or specialized equipment. And that is going to bring up some of the initial cost in order to build these things. But once you've got all those elements, then you're good to go. So why don't we go ahead and build one of these puppies. And at a minimum, you're going to need a pen kit that includes all the necessary hardware for your pen. But you can also buy kits like this with a starter pack, which will also include the necessary bushings for your pen mandrel and a drill bit. Also, for each different types of pen kits, there are instructions. Find them. They're online. They're very detailed, and it will tell you exactly what to do for that particular pen system. You can buy pen blanks. There are a number that are readily available in various materials, such as acrylics or wood. But better yet, you're probably like me with a lot of scrap wood in your shop. So what you do is you take scrap wood like I did. I took these pieces of cherry and I cut a number of blanks that are 3/4 of an inch square. And with that, I'll be able to make my pens. Now the first real woodworking step is we're going to have to cut these blanks to size. So use the brass sleeves that came in your kit and just measure off the on your blanks. So you got about at least 1/32 of an inch on either side. And that's what we're going to be cutting our pieces. Next step in the process is to drill a hole for the sleeve in your blanks. In order to do that, use the appropriate drill bit. If you bought the starter kit, that's the one you want to use. The other thing you should consider getting is something called a pen blank centering vise. This is ideal to hold your pen blank in place while you're drilling it. Next step is to glue these sleeves into our blanks. First of all, I'm going to use a piece of scrap sandpaper and just rough out the outside of the sleeve. Now, I'm going to show you a trick here. This is just ordinary soap. What I'm going to do is I'm going to block one of the ends of my sleeve rather, with some soap, so that if any glue goes inside of the sleeve, I'll be able to take it out at the same time that I take out the soap. Just like that. What I'll do now is I'll take some medium CA glue, put a good amount on the bottom of the sleeve, and then very quickly I'm going to insert the sleeve in the CA glue. A little bit of accelerant, and we are secure. Next step is to remove the excess material on either side of the blank. For that, I'm using my disc sander and a miter gauge to stay as square as possible. Next step, we'll mount our blanks on the lathe. In order to do that, you're going to need one of these. It's called a pen mandrel. You can't get away without this. You really do need it. The other thing that you're going to need is you're going to need the right size bushings for your pen. Again, if you bought your starter kit, then you will get the right size bushings. Follow the instructions that are on paper to mount the blanks in the right order with the mandrels in the right position, and you're basically good to start. In order to turn your pen, you're going to need some gouges or some turning tools. For the most part, we're going to be using this, a roughing gouge. You can get away with it, but first we need to get it nice and sharp. Good to go. As I mentioned earlier, the actual wood turning couldn't be easier. All you need to do is convert these square blanks into cylinders. The bushings will indicate the size of the diameter on both ends of the blank that you're looking for. You just need to follow that lead. And frankly, just using a roughing gouge is more than enough. This particular pen model called for a tenon for a ring. That's why you see me using my parting tool. And finally, I confirmed that the size of my pen blanks is appropriate to proceed just by using a caliper. And then some sanding, going from 150 to 600 grit. All right, so I finished sanding the blank up to 600 grit, and what I've done right now is I've changed the bushings. I've removed the bushings that you need for the turning, and I've replaced them with these plastic bushings. Reason why is I'm going to do a CA glue finish on these, and the CA glue is not going to stick to these bushings. Before I start my applying CA glue, I'm going to clean my blank with mineral spirits. Now I'm going to be putting about 10 coats of CA glue on this, and each coat is very light. It takes very little time to do, but I have to build it up slowly in order to have the really nice finish that we're looking for. So I'm going to be using two types of CA glue. I'm going to be using very thin and medium density CA glue. I'm going to be doing 2 coats of the thin and 8 coats of the medium. And each time that I apply some CA glue, I'm going to hit it with accelerator just to accelerate the process. So for each coat, I'm going to put a little dab of CA glue on the cloth itself. I'm going to be turning at a very, very low speed. And as I'm applying it, I'm going to also add some CA glue, just drop it up on the top here. Change the cloth, and here we go with our second coat. It's as fast as that. It really takes no time to apply. And that's it for the thin. Now we'll put the medium. Now this is where the miracle happens. I'm going to be using these little micro mesh pads. They go from 1500 over to 12,000 grit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all wet these. I've got a little cup of water right here that I'm going to wet them in. And I'm going to be using these one by one, and I'm going to sand the 2 blanks at fairly high speed, around 1500 RPM. And this is going to bring out the shine in these pens like you would not believe. So let's get started. I won't show you me going through all the 9 different grits of sanding pads. Hopefully you'll see the shine improve as I go from one grit to another. Now I realize that the camera might not give it justice, but believe me when I tell you that the shine changes dramatically as you go from one grit to the next. And once I've gone through all the grits, I hit my blanks with a quick dab of beeswax. When you've finished turning all of your pieces, this is the first time that I recommend that you take everything out of the kit bag and lay everything down just like your instructions, so you have a good look at what you need to do. And then follow the instructions step by step. The first step in this case is to insert the tip into the bottom pen blank. Now in order to do that, these are very snug fits. The best tool to do this is this pen vise. You could use a regular vise, but this is really an appropriate tool for the task. So let me just adjust the length here, lock it into place, and then we'll do step 1. And there we go. Tip is now assembled. Let's keep going. Now, this part here, I don't know if you can see it, this is called the transmission. And I learned the hard way, don't ask me how, that you can't push this completely inside of this part. It has to protrude about 13/16 of an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and take my calipers, and I'm going to measure 13/16. That's a quarter. 2, 3, and there's 13/16. And what I'm looking to do is to have at least this part exposed when I enter it into the pen. So about, only 1/3 of the way in. All right, so let's put it in there to begin with. I need to give myself a little bit more room. And let's slowly enter this and measure. All right, I still have a little ways to go. All right, next is to put the ring on the short band. Don't mind that. Okay, guess that's how far it'll go. Okay. Now I can screw this guy in. And final step. Methinks I have a pen. That's what it looks like. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys liked this video. Hit like, hit subscribe, give me a comment. Love to hear from you guys. See you next time.